Even the best teams and the best players in the world have to deal with personal problems. And when two players on the same team can't stand each other, that's a big problem. Here are 10 sets of teammates that hate each other. 1. Kevin De Bruyne and Thibaut Courtois. Kevin De Bruyne and Thibaut Courtois may currently represent opposing European powerhouses, but before they were winning trophies with Man City and Real Madrid, the Belgian pair were young teammates at Chelsea, as well as for the national team. But that's when things fell apart. In 2012, De Bruyne's girlfriend at the time, Caroline Linen, cheated on him with Courtois. Linen stated that KDB had cheated on her first with her best friend. She then met the Belgian stopper in Madrid, and the controversial affair began. The two Belgian superstars have largely avoided public confrontation, but relations are understandably cold. They've remained professional for the sake of the national team, but when De Bruyne emphatically dispatched a penalty past Courtois in the 2020 Champions League, you know that it felt just a little better than all the others. John Terry and Wayne Bridge. Another case of former Chelsea and international teammates turned enemies by women problems is that of John Terry and Wayne Bridge. Bridge had a relationship with Vanessa Paranzo for 5 years. They even had a son together. The England pair were teammates in Jose Mourinho's free-spending Chelsea and were part of a hugely successful side that brought a number of trophies. But Bridge moved to Manchester City in 2009, and his relationship with Paranzo ended shortly after. Enter John Terry. Despite the Chelsea and England captain taking out a court injunction to prevent the story's release, the scandal went worldwide that Terry had an affair with Bridges' partner. Something you just don't do with friends and teammates, especially with young children involved. Even though Terry and Paranzo deny the affair to this day, the damage had already been done for the former friends. When the pair next came head-to-head as Chelsea met Man City, Bridge famously blanked JT and refused to shake the Chelsea skipper's hand. Ouch! Andy Cole and Teddy Sheringham. Although forming part of one of the most successful Man United teams of all time, Andy Cole and Teddy Sheringham simply did not like each other. It started out of nothing when Cole made his England debut at Wembley in 1995. He came on as a substitute, replacing Teddy Sheringham. But when Cole extended his hand for the customary subs handshake, Sheringham ignored him and walked straight past him. From that moment, the pair loathed each other. Despite going on to play together for Man United and famously lift the 1999 treble, Cole claims they never said a word to each other the whole time they were there, even going as far as claiming he'd rather speak to Neil Ruddock, the player who broke Cole's leg in a horror tackle. Now that is a serious grudge. Mauro Icardi and Lionel Messi. In reality, this is actually a three-way hate triangle, if there is such a thing, as the bad blood with Messi stems from the much publicized conflict between Icardi and Maxi Lopez. Now, for those that don't know, Icardi and Maxi Lopez were close friends from their time at Sampdoria. Their time together goes way back to Barcelona, where Maxi played alongside Messi while Icardi shined at La Masia. They were so close that even their families would holiday together. Unfortunately for Lopez, though, they got too close. Icardi stole his fellow Argentine's wife, Wanda Nara, leading to a bitter dispute between the two best friends. Maxi Lopez and Nara had 3 young children together, leading the public to side with him in the messy divorce. A few short months later, and Icardi had married Nara himself and went on to have another 2 children. This, by all accounts, didn't sit well with Messi. Leo is old friends with Maxi Lopez from their time at Barca, and Icardi is convinced that Messi used his power with the national team to prevent the former Sampdoria man getting called up for Argentina. As fate would have it, Messi and Icardi are now teammates at PSG, and this bitter hate triangle rumbles on. Gerard Piqué and Álvaro Arbeloa. When you have 2 players that are synonymous with Barcelona and Real Madrid, it comes as no surprise that there would be no love lost between the two. That is certainly the case when it comes to Gerard Piqué and Álvaro Arbeloa. The feud between the former Spanish teammates started fairly innocently back in 2013, when Piqué claimed on social media that Real Madrid benefited from soft refereeing. But afterwards, the public war of words between the two would continue for years. Arbeloa confessed to ignoring Piqué whenever the two were on international duty with Spain, and had zero interest in spending any time with the Barca legend. The reality is that when you represent opposing giants in Spain like Piqué and Arbeloa did, it's never likely to lead to a beautiful friendship, and in their case, it was anything but. Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Onyewu. It's fair to say that Zlatan Ibrahimovic is no shrinking violet, and the Swede has a huge opinion of himself. But not everyone feels the same way, and his former AC Milan teammate Pique and Onyewu feels quite the opposite, in fact. So much so that after a heavy challenge from Zlatan in training, Onyewu fearlessly confronted the legendary striker. An all-out brawl broke out, and despite being a black belt in Taekwondo, Ibrahimovic ended up with a broken rib from the incident. Needless to say, no Christmas cards were exchanged between the pair, and Onyewu was inevitably moved out of the club the following summer. Kolo Touré and William Gallas. Kolo Touré was an integral member of the Arsenal Invincibles team in 2004 and was beloved by the fans, whereas William Gallas was signed from local rivals Chelsea and was never fully accepted in North London. To make matters worse, Gallas was sometimes a bizarre and divisive character that rubbed Touré the wrong way. The breaking point was when Gallas had an on-field meltdown at Birmingham, and Touré felt his action showed a lack of respect for the club he loved. The Ivory Coast international would later admit that things got so bad between the pair, they wouldn't even communicate together on the pitch. Not ideal when you're a defensive partnership. The feud would eventually lead to Touré claiming that one of them had to leave. And so, Touré handed in a transfer request and joined Man City in 2009. Mathieu Valbuena and Karim Benzema. But for this highly controversial issue with Mathieu Valbuena, Karim Benzema would already have well over 100 French caps. But the Real Madrid superstar was arrested back in 2015 for blackmailing his international teammate. Benzema allegedly threatened the release of a sex tape that included Valbuena, and he was suspended from the national team following his arrest, missing the 2018 World Cup. Valbuena was also frozen out and hasn't represented France since 2015. In 2021, Benzema was found guilty of conspiring to blackmail and was hit with a 1-year suspended sentence as a result, and a €750,000 fine for good measure. Raheem Sterling and Joe Gomez. When Liverpool beat Man City at Anfield in November 2019, Sterling and Gomez had a number of heated clashes throughout the game. When they met up just 2 days later on England duty, tensions were still high and a scuffle broke out in the team canteen. Gomez was left with a gash to his face, while Sterling was sent home and kept out for a game. They have since shared England squads together, but the incident has left a lingering awkwardness between the pair as a result. Robert Lewandowski and Kingsley Coman. Lewandowski and Koeman have been two of the most dangerous forwards across Europe. But back in 2019, the Bayern teammates had a bust-up that has left a few scars. Lewandowski can claim to be the most prolific marksman in the world. But that's not enough for the Polish striker. He grew annoyed that Koeman wasn't passing him the ball enough in games. And things finally came to a head one day in training. The frustrated pair exchanged several punches, with both players left with visible wounds from the fight. Bayern Munich dealt with the matter internally and insisted the pair resolve their differences. The following season saw Bayern lift the Champions League with Koeman scoring the winner. So the two may have been able to function together on the pitch, but off the pitch, both players wear the scars of that fateful day in training. So this is proof that you don't need to be best friends to play in the same team. These enemies show that while some can remain professional for the greater good, for others, there's just no going back. Keep your friends close, but keep your teammates closer. For more teammates fighting, why not try this? 8 times footballers fought due to selfishness.